Today is the 8th Sunday after Pentecost, and in today's epistle we read, Therefore, brethren, we are debtors, not to the flesh, to live according to the flesh. For if you live according to the flesh, you shall die. But if by the Spirit you mortify the deeds of the flesh, you shall live. For whosoever are led by the Spirit of God, they are the sons of God. For you have not received the spirit of bondage, again in fear, but you have received the Spirit of adoption of sons, whereby we cry, Abba, Father. For the Spirit himself giveth testimony to our spirit that we are the sons of God. And if sons, heirs also, heirs indeed of God, and joint heirs with Christ. And so if we suffer with him, that we may also be glorified with him. For if you live according to the flesh, you shall die. By living according to the flesh, St. Paul means being attached to worldly things. In the Beatitudes we are reminded, Blessed are the clean of heart, for they shall see God. By clean of heart we mean totally detached from the things of this world. That is, living by the Spirit rather than by the flesh. To live by the Spirit, we must mortify our flesh in order to suffer with Christ. Only by mortification can we hope to become joint heirs with Christ. Please stand for the Gospel. And the Gospel is taken from St. Luke. And he said also to his disciples, There was a certain rich man who had a steward, and the same was accused unto him that he had wasted his goods. And he called him and said to him, How is it that I hear this of thee? Give an account of thy stewardship, for thou canst be steward no longer. And the steward said within himself, What shall I do? Because my Lord taketh away from me the stewardship. To dig I am not able, to beg I am ashamed. I know what I will do, that when I shall be removed from the stewardship, they may receive me into their houses. Therefore, calling together every one of his Lord's debtors, he said to the first, How much dost thou owe my Lord? But he said, 100 barrels of oil. And he said to him, Take thy bill, and sit down quickly, and write 50. Then he said to another, And how much dost thou owe? Who said, 100 quarters of wheat. He said to him, Take thy bill, and write 80. And the Lord commanded the unjust steward, forasmuch he has done wisely. For the children of this world are wiser in their generation than the children of light. And I say to you, make unto you friends of the mammon of iniquity, that when you shall fail, they may receive you into everlasting dwellings. We are all going to be called to give an account of our stewardship at the end of the world. That is, at the day of our death, when the world ends in regard to us. Are we ready to make that accounting, or have we wasted our Master's goods? What have we done with all the talents God has given us? Have we done good with our abilities, or have we done evil? What have we done with all the material goods God has placed in our care to use for good? Take a look at your bank statement and credit card statement. How much of that money went for good? How much for evil? We will have to account for how we have disposed of every penny God has placed in our care. And God has allotted to us each a certain amount of time in order to save our souls. We should devote every minute to the salvation of our soul. And yet how many years have we wasted in living according to the flesh? Make unto you friends of the mammon of iniquity, that when you shall fail, they may receive you into everlasting dwellings. This is actually a warning. We are making friends of the mammon of iniquity by wasting our Master's goods, and they will receive us into everlasting dwellings, that is, into hell. Yes, we will know people there who we have helped along the way by our scandalous way of life. Let us heed this warning and stop failing in pursuing the science of the saints. And in today's communion prayer we pray, Taste and see that the Lord is sweet. Blessed is the man that hopes in him. Let us consider the science of the saints in light of this simple statement. The spiritual life is simply a life of loving God completely. This love requires us to hate what God hates. That is the world of sin that is all around us. This love will inspire us to taste and see how sweet the Lord is. This love will inspire us to live a life of prayer, for prayer is communication with God. God communicates with us, and we with Him. When we're in love, we desire to spend all of our time with our beloved. Anything that takes us away is painful, even if it is necessary. And through prayer, we acquire the strength to banish all worldly distraction and truly live a life of prayer. Prayer is more than something that we do at certain times of the day and then set it aside. Those moments of more intense prayer merely serve to keep us living the life of prayer. If we pray now, then banish all thought of God from our life, then our prayer is worthless. And then we love our neighbor, friend or foe, because we live the life of prayer. We love him for the love of God, desiring what God desires for him, eternal happiness in heaven. We also desire the means to obtain eternal salvation. We wish him nothing ill, and if we should wish God to chastise him, it is only because out of love for him we hope this chastisement will bring about his amendment. Let us hope in God, for only God is trustworthy. Let us seriously undertake to live a life of prayer, and so taste and see how sweet the Lord is.